Hello, welcome back. In this video, we will understand how to implement incremental load in Azure Data Factory. I will give an example where we will load the data from Azure SQL to our blob storage. Let's create a data factory. Data factories. Add new. Give a name. Okay. Okay. The resource group, we will select the resource group. For time being, we will disable the git, create. It will take some time for the deployment. This incremental data load we will do using a watermark table. This is our data factory. Open the data factory. We will create a pipeline. Yes. So for this, we will create a watermark table. In the watermark table, we will store all the table names and the last updated date when the table was updated. So for this, let's create the tables. I will create a source table. Let me create the source table. Create it. Let me insert some data. I am inserting 5 records. I have given the last modified time as this. I will create a watermark table. In this watermark table, I am keeping the table name and the watermark value. This is the date, last modified date. For time being, I am doing for one table. We can do it for multiple tables. As I am doing it for one table, I will insert the data for one table. Then once the data is loaded to our blob storage, every time the load completed, we will update the watermark table, the last modified date. For that, I am writing a procedure to update the watermark last modified table. Done. Now I will design my pipeline. For this, first I will use a lookup. This will capture the last modified date from the watermark table. Let's give it a name. Okay, you can minimize these things. I will create a new data set. It will take the last modified date from the watermark table. I will connect to the Azure SQL database. Continue. Subscription, server name, db1, database name, DemoDB. I will provide my authentication. Test connection. Successful. Create. Table name. Watermark table. Okay. I have selected my source data set. Now in this, okay, it will take the first row only. Then I will take another lookup which will retrieve the last modified date from the table. Give it a name. It will retrieve the latest modified date. Okay, then our source, we will create a new source for this. Continue. Okay. So my second lookup database also I have created the source. Here in the second database, I will use the query instead of table. I will take the maximum updated date from the table. My table name is this. Let me write a query for this. I will take the max of last modified time as new watermark value. So this is my last updated date. Take it as the latest date. Okay. Then I will copy the data from database to blob storage. For that, I will use a copy activity. I will connect them to the copy activity. Copy activity. copy data, the source. I will create a new data set. I can take it from this data set. For the copy activity, I will use a query. Here I will write a query to retrieve the data from the source table where which all data are updated after the maximum updated date in the watermark table and before the maximum updated date in the source table. So for that I will write a query. Select star from our table where my last modified time greater than it will take the last updated date from the watermark table. So we will retrieve that from the lookup LKP old watermark. This is our lookup name. Output dot, we will take only the first row. Watermark value. The column name and the last modified time less than equal to I will take the maximum updated date from the second lookup. The second lookup name is LKP watermark activity. Dot output dot first row dot, the column name is new watermark value. So this is my query. Then I will set a sink for this. My sink will be my storage account, blob storage. I will create a link service for this, Azure blob storage. Continue. I will store it in a CSV file. Continue. Let's give a name. linked service, new. This is my storage account, test connection, create. Okay, so it is created. Okay, let's go to the linked service. In the data set, this blob storage, open that. In the container, as we have not created any folder or file for our sync, we will create it now. We will just give the name. It will create in the storage while we will execute this pipeline. In the file name, we will create a dynamic content. So every time when we will execute the pipeline, each time it should create a new file, and that should be a incremental file. And to make it a unique identification, we will give the pipeline run ID attached to it, so that it will create new files every time it runs. So we will give a name, and in that name we will just attach the run ID, pipeline run ID. Let's give a name, incremental. With that, we will just concatenate the pipeline run ID. We will store it in a txt format. Okay, finish, done. Let's validate this all. Validation is completed, there is no error. Let's save this. Okay, it is saved. Now once it is copied to the blob storage, we will update the watermark table. Go to the pipeline, we will update it. We can update the pipeline, we can update the watermark table using a store procedure. Okay, update watermark settings, linked service. We can use this existing linked service, and the procedure, we have created this procedure. We will pass the parameter, it will update the last updated date in the watermark value and the table name. We will pass these two parameters, the table name and the date. Two parameters. The two parameters, we will give name, the last modified date, and the table name. Last modified time, it's a date time, and another one is table name. It's a string. Okay. Values, we will give the values. The last modified date is we will get it from the watermark second lookup. It should be same as it is in the lookup name. Done. Then dot output dot first row dot new watermark value. Okay, and the table name is we will get the table name from the first lookup. Dot output dot first row dot table name. Okay, it is done. So let's validate it. Validated. Save the changes. Okay, the pipeline is set. Let's execute this package. It is running. The lookup activities are successful. We can keep refreshing. Copy data is started. Then update watermark procedure is going on. It is successful. Let's check if the file is created in the storage account. We will open in another tab. Account. My storage account. This is the new folder created. As you remember, we have given this name ADF tutorial. Incremental copy is the folder name and the file is created. Let's see what is the data inside the file. So this is the data is inserted into the blob storage. Let's check if it is the same data we have inserted. Yes, these are the data we have inserted into our table. So let's check if it is creating the incremental file. We will insert 2 more records. Okay, and before that we will just what is the date updated in the watermark table. Here in the watermark table, initially we have given the date 1st of January for this table, and the maximum date table source table is this. So we'll check what is the data in watermark table for that table now. So let's start from watermark. It is updated now. Here it is 5th September. So now we will insert few more record for 6th September and 7th September. So for these 2 record, it should create another file because these are my incremental data. So I no need these records file in the second run. Let's check that. First we will insert these records. These 2 records are in. Let's execute the pipeline again. Trigger now. It will take some time to be executed. The loading is started. Successful. So let's see if the date is changed. What is the date now? It is changed. So this is the latest watermark table date, and let's see if our incremental data file is created or not. Go to the storage. Yes, the file is created. You can see the file. Let's see what is the data inside this. This is the file we have first. It was created. The second file. Okay, we have the incremental data. So you can see we are only loading the incremental data in the new file. This is how we can implement the incremental load using the watermark table through Azure Data Factory. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel so that you will get the latest updates about Azure. Thank you.